5 turnovers. Remember the movie 13 Going on 30?
Yeah, with Mark Ruffalo.
Here's the thing. Yeah, down. Emilio, I'm calling my player of the week. It's not a doubt that my player of the week is
Welcome back to Your Detroit Now. My name's Emilio. This is my co-host Musa. What up, Musa?
What up?
We got a great show ahead of us, talking Lions, MSU football, basketball, UofM football and basketball, Red Wings and Pistons. Like I said, great show, so let's get right into it with the event that just took place. Lions lost to the Eagles in what I wish I could say it was an exciting game, but really was not at all.
Yeah, and Emilio, was it me or did you see Brad Allen reffing the game?
That was a horrible call at the end of the game. That defensive pass interference that by any real metric should have been a no call. Could have even gone as offensive pass interference, but that was a bad call.
I don't know I don't know what made him see that it was a defensive pass interference, but like I'm just shocked. I'm still mad about that call.
Yeah, that call made me almost as mad as Brad Allen, like you said, last year or 2 years ago.
That reminded me of that call. That reminded me of Brad Allen's call.
Yeah, so that's how mad we still are about that call. So, anyways, Musa, let's get into the game. Lions lost 9-16. Musa, why don't you talk about the game leaders, and then I'll head over into the team stats.
Um, Jared Goff, 14 for 37, 255 yards, one touchdown, and one pick. That is horrible, Emilio. I'm shocked. And this is coming from a guy who leads the NFL in completion percentage, and he went into this game with like 6 deflected passes and a lot of missed throws, a lot of short throw opportunities.
Yeah, Goff was 37.8% when it came to his completion percentage. That was minus 10.4 under his projected completion percentage. Everybody knew because of the cold weather he would perform worse, but he performed 10.4% worse than he was anticipated to play. Very embarrassing.
Yeah, and it's compared to Jalen Hurts, 14 for 28 and 135 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, not great as well, with 12 carries, 39 yards. And Saquon Barkley didn't have a great game, or he had a decent game, 26 carries for 83. Jahmyr Gibbs is actually what actually made us made this game winnable with his receiving yards. 5 receptions for 107 yards. That's really rare to see for a running back.
Yeah, you don't usually see that. That's kind of embarrassing too, considering the amount of targets and the amount of drop balls we had from our receivers. Embarrassing.
Embarrassing. To AJ Brown's 7 receptions for 49. Sack leaders. Jalen Phillips was their sack leader with 1. We had 2 sack leaders. Roy Lopez was 1, and Aiden Hutchinson with 1, because they both had a half. Tackle leaders. Jack Campbell was our tackle leader with 7. Jack Campbell was our tackle leader for 15 for 7 solo, and Zach Bond was their tackle leader with 7 tackles and 2 for solo. I mean, this is just ugly metrics and very bad stats.
Yeah, super ugly. The stats don't really show how bad of a game we played. Jared Goff throwing for 255 yards was kind of shocking. I didn't truly realize that until I looked at it after the game, but yeah, I was a little bit surprised about that. Let's go over to the team stats here. Total yards, 317 for the Lions versus 272 for the Eagles. Turnovers, we had 1. First downs, 13 for 16. They beat us by just a little bit. Penalties, 5 for 48 versus 9 for 78. Musa, the Eagles gave us so many free yards, so many penalties they had. Third downs, we went 3 for 13. They went 4 for 15. Neither team played great on third down. Fourth downs, this is not the Lions football we are used to seeing. This is probably the reason we lost this game more than any. We went 0 for 5 on fourth downs. They went 0 for 1. Red zone, we were 0 for 1. They were 1 for 3. In time of possession, this is another killer. 24-12 to 35-48. Musa, we lost the important metrics. We lost the fourth down. Going 0 for 5 on fourth downs is not the Lions football that we're used to seeing, especially when you see that fake punt that we pulled. That is not typical that gets stopped. It is not typical that we try 5 fourth downs and don't get a single one. I want to real quick, Musa, talk about how the game flowed. Eagles started with the ball. They punted to us. Lions threw an interception. Punted. Turnover on downs. Finally, we scored, tied it up. But JMO, with a costly error, resulted in a missed field goal. Lions end the half with a knee. So we go into the third down. We elected to receive. Turnover on downs. Punt, field goal. Musa, this was so embarrassing. It was a disastrous way to play the game. We all thought that this would be, I really thought this was going to be a shootout from the quarterbacks, some of the best offensive teams in the league, and they didn't even put up 30 points together. So embarrassing.
Very embarrassing. I want to break down to what you said about JMO costing us. Remember the movie 13 going on 30?
Yeah, with Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. JMO should have a movie called 30 going on 13 because he is so immature. He's got to clean up.
I really like that. Yeah, that's true.
He's got to clean up his matureness, bro.
It was terrible. Such a costly error. And they were talking in the pregame show how windy it was. We saw Jake Elliott and Jake Bates both miss field goals wide right, and you could see the ball curving.
I know, and even in the game, it wasn't that much windy. It was just only the pregame.
Well, where I was going with that, Musa, was it was so windy that pulling the kick back only hurt us because he had to account for aiming even further left.
Yeah. And I'd like to break something down. 0 for 5 conversions. I agree those were Dan Campbell's fault, but like, why is he still calling the plays? I feel like some of the play calls he made pretty much cost us the game.
Too aggressive.
Way too aggressive. You wanna I think 3 of them were in Jake Bates's uh field goal range and he decided to go for it. Why? Let him kick it.
Take the points. And the problem is, Musa, that could have really changed the whole momentum of the game. You take the points, that penalty at the end of the game becomes less important because you have potentially a chance to kick a field goal. You have potentially the chance to do something else that you wouldn't have had. And another problem I had at the end of the second half, at the end of the second quarter, Lions had 3 timeouts. Why did we elect to take the knee? We could have potentially gotten field goal range, tried something, but no, we took the knee, went straight into the tunnel. I don't get that.
I don't get that either. You're given 3 timeouts, and when halftime hits, they reset your timeouts. At least use them in the first two in the halves.
Yeah, exactly right. It's use them or lose them. And I don't know if they didn't know that or what.
And we definitely lost them.
Definitely. Let's talk about next week real quick. New York Giants are plus 10.5 point underdogs. The over-under is the total is 50.5, and the money line favoring the Lions minus 650. Lions, by ESPN's metrics, have a 71.1% chance of winning this game. Musa, what do the Lions have to do to turn around from the game that we just saw Sunday night?
I mean, play it. I know I said this a couple of times, play aggressive, but this time you gotta play it like safer, a bit safer. I want you to play aggressive. I want you to be risky, but you can't go for like fourth and 17. You can't go for on fourth and 17. You can play a little bit safe.
Yeah, I agree. Lions were overly aggressive, and I think the Eagles pressuring us only hurt us. Eagles pressured on 41% of plays, 12 pressures total. That's the highest they've seen all season. And I do think that rattled Goff a little bit. Hopefully, the O line can settle themselves down a little bit and really play great football against the Giants, who's a team that's very beat up right now. Jackson Dart is out. Cam Scadaboo out. Big advantage for the Lions having those guys out. Obviously, wanting them to come back healthy into the season, but I think the Lions have a great opportunity to really show what they could have done better.
Yeah, it's really tough to see your two best rookies you draft and make a huge impact on the team and then get injured for one of them out for the year, one of them you don't know how long. And who forget and it's also a big advantage when they don't have Malik Neighbors.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I just want to point something out. Here's a killer, Emilio. Sam Laporta is on IR until December 14. That's a killer, man.
That's gonna kill us late in the season, especially with the tough games that we have remaining. Devastating to see that.
Yeah, just to point those out. And I hope Kirby Joseph and Terry Arnold comes back. We need them in our secondary.
100%. All right, producer Chris, sending us over to college football. Let's talk U of M versus Northwestern in Wrigley Field. Was that cool or what?
That was so cool, man, to do it in a baseball field in the middle of Chicago. That's crazy.
Super, super cool. Let's talk a little bit about the game before I send it over to you. Wolverines came into the game a minus 10.5 point favorite. The total was 42.5, and the money line was minus 425 U of M. Wolverines were trailing late in the fourth quarter. ESPN gave Northwestern a 66% chance of winning this game late into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Of course, I think Bryce Underwood tried to take too much of an advantage on those RPOs that cost us those picks. Um, but we got the win
Got the
and
win in an ugly game, though.
a good game. Let's get into some of the game leaders around the game. Bryce Underwood, 21 for 32, 280 passing yards and two interceptions. Killer, man. That's a killer.
Always.
Preston Stone, 13 for 27, 184 yards. Um, Jordan Marshall, 19 carries, 142 yards, and two touchdowns. Would have could have had way more if he didn't get injured on that play. That's a killer, man. Caleb Kumale, 12 carries for 31 yards and one touchdown. Andrew Marsh. I'm telling you, this kid was special. In this game, he broke a school record for the most receptions and most receiving yards by a freshman. 12 receptions for 189 yards. Emilio, I'm calling my player of the week. It's not a doubt that my player of the week is Andrew Marsh.
Great pick. I knew the second he broke the record, he's going to be your player of the week. So great job, Andrew Marsh.
This kid is incredible. I can't wait to see what has for us next season. Hunter Welchick, four receptions for 81 yards, no touchdowns. We had no sacks for some reason, which is horrible. And their sack leader was Aiden Hubbard with one. And this is terrible. Mason Curtis was our tackle leader, five tackles for two solo. And oh my gosh, this guy killed us the entire game. Robert Fitzgerald, I'm telling you, this guy is like 5'9". He's a defensive back, but he looks like he's an edge rusher. He's built like an edge rusher, man. He killed us this entire game. 15 tackles and 10 solo, and he's a defensive back. That is crazy.
Very exciting and very fun player to watch.
Let's get into some of the team stats around the game. 496 total yards, which is incredible, to 245. Do I have to say this part?
I think you do, but Musa, how is it possible to score almost 500 yards and only get 24 points?
I don't know, man. I'll tell you who, because Donovan Zavada missed two of his easy field goals, and I shouldn't say easy. I feel like his first one made it, but the refs called miss, so I'm gonna say he missed it. And he was this close to making that 60-yarder. And he made all those up by kicking the game-winning field goal. But it's just ugly to have five turnovers. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Five
that was bad.
five turnovers, and we caused zero turnovers. That is horrible. What is going on?
Horrible.
Um, 25 first downs. We had 25 first downs. They had 11 penalties. We had good penalties, 4 for 24. They had 7 for 55. Third downs, we did great on third downs, 9 for 14. We also did great on defense because they had 2 for 12. Fourth downs, we missed our fourth down conversion. They made their fourth down conversion. And time of possession, 33:06 to 26:54. Um, just I was so disappointed. A Northwestern is not a good team.
No,
They're not.
unranked, but the Wolverines squeaked out a win in the end. Didn't end up mattering too much, but man, what an ugly, ugly game for the Wolverines. Final thoughts before we head over to MSU, Musa?
Uh, we better destroy Maryland next week.
Revenge game for the Wolverines, even though they didn't lose. All right, Musa, let's talk MSU football. Do we have to, though? Do we
Mm,
have to talk MSU football, Musa?
no, we don't have to talk MSU.
All right, let's hit the main points.
Of course, you have to talk about MSU.
I know, I know. Spartans played Penn State this weekend. Penn State fired their coach James Franklin after a long tenure at Penn State. Spartans went into the game plus 7.5 point underdogs. Penn State went into the game with an 81% chance of winning. That percentage never dropped below 66%. Musa, we never had a chance. We scored early. We actually were winning at one point early in the game, 10-7. Unfortunately, it didn't matter, and they put up 21 unanswered points between the second quarter and the fourth quarter. We fell asleep at the wheel, Musa. Let's talk a little bit about the quarterback battle between Aiden Childs and Alessio Milivojevic. Alessio started the game. Childs is benched, to nobody's surprise. Alessio Milivojevic put up 128 passing yards. Our rush yard leader goes to Elijah Trevoler. Receiving yards also go to Elijah Trevoler with 73. Sacks go to Grady Kelly with half a sack, and tackles, 8 tackles, Wayne Matthews III with 3 solo. Total yards, we only put up 229, 1 turnover, 13 first downs, 2 for 20 on penalties, 1 for 10 on third downs. Are you kidding me, Musa? 10% on third downs is embarrassing. 0 for 2 on fourth downs and time of possession. This is the one that tells the story of the game. 37-19 Penn State versus 22-41. How can you expect to win a game if you don't even touch the ball at all? Let's talk a little bit about how the Spartans played and went through the game. You ready? Because I think you're going to like this, Musa.
I'm gonna love it already.
Touchdown, punt, turnover on downs, field goal, punt, 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 fumble, turnover on downs. Did you like that?
I didn't like the touchdowns and the field goals, but I liked everything else.
I figured you would. Musa, it didn't end up mattering. It only added up to 10 points. They scored 28. We got blown out. Officially second worst in the Big Ten, only in front of Purdue. This is a lonely place to be here, Musa.
Hey, that's MSU football for you.
Right? Spartans go on and play Iowa Hawkeyes, 21st ranked Iowa Hawkeyes. They currently have a 10.4% chance of winning. How do we even compete with a ranked team at this point in the season?
Here's the thing. You don't.
I think you're right, Musa. I fear the Spartans' lose streak is going to go to 9 games. So, Musa, I don't know what to say. I do think Jonathan Smith is gone after the Maryland game. I think at this point in the season, you let him finish out his career, and then we shop the market a little bit.
At this point, do you finish the season with a 9-game losing streak and 0-9 in the Big Ten?
That's a good point. I don't know. What if he shows signs of life, I don't even know if he saved his job. I think he is fired, but he's still wearing the merch.
And what do you want to see before we get on to some college basketball? What do you want to see next week?
Against Iowa?
Yeah.
Uh,
Or have you just given up at this point? Have you accepted your fate?
I think it's a little bit of I've given up on this team. If we can show any signs of life, let's look towards next year. This season's obviously over. Officially, by the way, Musa, we officially cannot make a bowl game. It's impossible. Not that anyone thought we would, but it's interesting to know. I'd like to see signs of life. This would give me any sign of life would give me a little bit of hope for next year.
It's officially impossible.
Officially impossible. All right, Musa, producer Chris is screaming at us. We got a long episode today. Busy episode. College basketball. Let's start with the Wolverines.
We're heading over to UofM basketball where the Wolverines had a huge win against TCU, 67-63. And let's get into some of the stats in the game. By the way, I was happy we won this game.
You have a deep hatred for TCU, don't you, Musa?
We don't have to talk about it.
College football playoffs a few years ago.
No. I said we don't have to talk about it.
New Year's Eve.
Shh. Field goal percentage, 43%. 3-point percentage, 31%. Turnovers, 22. And the one thing I'm really happy about is 44 rebounds. I mean, that is incredible.
Yeah, rebounds were outstanding, but those turnovers, man, Wolverines got to clean that up.
They do got to clean that up. On Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., we will verse Middle Tennessee. It will be home, and the Wolverines have a 96% chance of winning. Emilio, do you know how high that is in basketball?
Yeah, it's almost a lock. But because of that huge favorite, there is no money line. There is no spread. You can't bet on this game as of now.
And the Wolverines are currently seventh in the country for basketball, which is higher than MSU.
By 10 ranking spots, Musa. But we're all circling our calendar for January 30th, 8 p.m. Wolverines play the Spartans in the Breslin Center. That's an MSU home game.
And the Michigan home game will be somewhere in March.
Michigan home game, yes, it will be March 8th, 5:30 p.m. against the Spartans. Last game before March Madness. Musa, do you remember last year March Madness? Spartans did their job. You guys couldn't meet us in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, you didn't. Spartans were there though.
Let's send it over to MSU basketball. Emilio, would you like to start us off?
100%. MSU basketball just played San Jose State in a big win, 79-60. Let's talk a little bit about the team stats for the game. 48% from the field goal. 24% on the 3-point shots, 9 turnovers, 45 rebounds. Musa, were you taking notes on that 9 rebounds? You guys put up 22.
Uh, whatever,
With
whatever.
that 79-point win, Spartans' offensive ranking puts them in the top 25, averaging 112 points per the last 100 possessions. Top 25 for that metric. Defensive rankings, top 20. They only allow their opponents to score 98 points per 100 possessions. So we're averaging much more than we're giving up. I have no doubt that this will translate into big success later on into the season. 51% from the field goal as a season, 16% of our possessions result in a turnover. That is high. Hopefully the Spartans can clean that up later in the season. Musa, big game Tuesday this week against Kentucky. That is the State Farm Championship. Here's what the Spartans need to do to win that game. It's all about second chance shots for MSU. These guys are great when it comes to off the rebound shots. Kentucky is outstanding when it comes to paint points. So putting up points in the paint, MSU needs to win the rebound battle, and they need to win the rebound battle big. These are the two ways MSU can sneak out an underdog win in this game. All right, Musa, before we leave college basketball, I want to do a shout out. Cohen Carr. ESPN SportsCenter puts out their top 10 plays. Cohen Carr had 3 of them. All 3 dunks. Special player, averaging 11.7 points per game, 5 rebounds a game, 3 assists, and he is 56.5 from the field goal. Safe to say, Cohen Carr is my player of the week.
We're heading off to NBA, where the Pistons are currently on a 9-game winning streak. They are 11-2, and they're first in the Central Division. Emilio, I gotta give a shout out.
Great job, Pistons.
Cade Cunningham is literally playing MVP. He's probably on track on winning it.
Early season MVP favorite.
Early season. Let's talk about their most recent win against the 76ers. Uh, field goal, per- field goal percentage 45%. Three point percent 41. Turnovers 14, and rebounds 46. Amazing.
Really, really good. Musa, can we talk about some advanced stats before we go too deep on the stats in the rankings? Pistons are averaging 60.7 points per game in the paint. That's number 1 in the league. They're doing that on only 259 touches. Points allowed, field goals allowed. They're allowing their opponent to have 42% shots made. That's second best in the league. Blocks per game, 6.4. That's second best in the league. Offensive efficiency, they are top 5 in paints scoring volume. They're projected 115 points per game. They average 118 points a game, and they average 105 opponent points per game. This is clear to see in our win against Chicago and in our recent win against Philly. Pistons are playing great basketball. Cade is playing early MVP favorite basketball. Yeah, let's talk a little bit, Musa, about how they're doing when it comes to home versus away. At home, they're currently 6-1. Away, they're 4-1. Pistons are dominant at home, dominant away. They're 1-2 in the division, so it's interesting that both losses come from the division. It's actually very interesting to see that, and it's just because these teams know our style of play better than any other team in the NBA. Like I already said, 118 plus points per game, and our scoring differential is +6. On average, we score 6 more points a game than the opponent. That is the reason why some of these games are not even close. It's so exciting to see. Final thoughts on Pistons before we go to the exciting Red Wings, who just had a big fight last night.
I know, I heard. Embarrassed the Indiana Pacers. They're currently 0-7 away. 1-12 is the record. And this was the team that was in the finals last year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a A team without Tyrese Halliburton, not the same.
Now we're heading over to hockey where we're going to talk about the Red Wings' recent fight. You want to send us over, Emilio?
Red Wings had a brawl after the game because one of the New York Rangers put a shot in the net after the final horn had gone off. Let's talk about the game. 42 shots put up by the Red Wings versus 19 by the Rangers. That is an incredible stat line. Let's talk about hits. 23 versus their 26. Penalty minutes 14 versus their 22. The Red Wings also won 60% of the faceoffs. That is huge when we can get those possessions back. 2 goals came in the second period, 1 in the third, led to the Red Wings 2-1 victory. Let's talk about how the Red Wings are doing this season. Currently, they are second with 23 points in the Eastern Atlantic Division. Their goal differential is -2. Like I said, I was concerned about this last week. Still a little bit concerned, but it is trending in the right direction. Their home record is 5-4-1 versus their away record 5-2-1. So they're obviously winning at home, but man, and it feels like they play better games on the road.
Yeah, 100% agree.
So hopefully they can play clean hockey as they play the Kraken this Tuesday at 7 p.m. Musa, anything specific you'd want to see in this game?
I actually loved how much shots we put up. I want to see that even more.
100%. 44 shots putting up. That is awesome. Make the goaltender defend it. I 100% agree. All right, Musa, let's hit the phones. We got 2 questions today. First one comes from Mark in Birmingham. Mark asks, what's up with Jamo's unsportsmanlike conduct after his first touchdown? Knowing how windy it was, why did he do what he did? Mark, I think that is a great question. We know how windy it was. We saw pregame them missing kicks left. We saw them missing them right, depending on what side of the field. The wind was strong. It was selfish. It was amateur hour with JMO. Don't know why he did that. And if you want to be a leader on this team, you have to play smart and you have to do the smart things. It was a rookie move and you're too far in. We're paying you too much money to make a mistake like that.
Like I said, 13 going on 30 comment. He's got to clean up his matureness.
100%. All right, Musa, our next question comes from Dave in Macomb. Dave asks, will Dan Campbell still be calling the plays next week?
I don't know what made him getting some inspiration or where he got from where he wanted to call the plays, but it shows on Sunday he had no idea what he was doing.
Too aggressive, too many missed opportunities. Take the points at some point, and this game could have been a little bit closer. I think the Lions were never really in it, and it's embarrassing because this game was so winnable.
I don't know, I guess that's why he's called Dan the Gamble Campbell.
100%.
Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Come watch our next video. This is Your Detroit Now.